It's the Royal Oak Show with Carlo Ginotti. Tonight's guest, Royal Oak corporate citizen Bill Downs. Royal Oak DPS Superintendent Greg Rassel. From Youth Under Construction, David Sawicki. And from Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle, Connie Ettinger. And now, Carlo Ginotti!
Wow, what a great reception. Thank you very much and welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. Tonight we have an extra special show. We've got to a new format. We're going to go to an hour, so we have the guests can have more time to tell you what they do. And Andy, are you excited about tonight's show?
Very much so, Carlo.
I'm sorry.
Looking forward to it. The hour show.
The hour show. This is the format. And we're going to start something tonight which we hope will be a long-lasting tradition. We're going to have Connie Ettinger here. She's not going to be here all the time, but she'll be here. She's going to be your comedic relief. Other than Andy. Andy, you know, the Tigers didn't do so well today, and I'm sorry to hear that. You were, of course, were down at Tiger Stadium. Is that correct?
Well, I wasn't at Tiger Stadium. It's called Comerica Park.
I call it Tiger Stadium myself.
But,
I refuse to call it Comerica.
You're a traditionalist. I appreciate that about you, Carlo. But, you know, being there just reminded me of that '84 team when you were the star for the World Series champions and the original Pudge.
I knew that was coming.
Is that what you were? Yeah, I think they referred to
the original Pudge.
Yeah,
Ginotti, I think that was. Yes.
Oh, wow, I don't know.
I'm down to my fighting form now, though.
I admire the statue in the outfield they have.
Well, you know, there are two rites of spring. There is the Tigers opening day, and then that's the time when I get my hair cut too. So every spring,
Which
whether
one?
you need it or not. The one on the left side.
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get moving now. At this point, I'm going to introduce our show for tonight. We have a great show. But before we get into that, Andy, tell us what's going on in our city, Royal Oak.
Thank you, Carlo. Well, the annual park cleanup will take place on leadership. Carlo Ginotti.
You know, last week we had the massage, and this week it is the Martini Luge. Andy, I don't know.
Luge.
I think people are going to start getting the wrong idea about this show.
Is it a good idea to go luging after you've had martinis? I'm not sure.
Well, I got a feeling maybe that'll be one of our upcoming shows.
Let's find out.
And speaking of upcoming shows, ladies and gentlemen, it is with my great pleasure that we introduce our first guest tonight, Mr. Ironman Billy Downs from Mongolian Barbecue. Billy, how are you?
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thanks for coming on. So. Now I do, you like this, huh?
I feel like I'm on a Martini Luge right here, I tell you.
Well, we have one in the green room back there. Did you notice
do.
that? Did you miss that?
I think I went right by it, but if we get this over quickly, I can get back to the Martini Luge and we'll
There we
go.
go. There we go. Now, Billy, I'm really happy that you came to the show. I know that you've been in here in Royal Oak for how long now?
15 years. This year, it's our 15-year anniversary of our company and our restaurant in Royal Oak. So.
And I know you, and most of the people in the audience know you, but tell us a little bit, who is Billy Downs, and what is this Mongolian barbecue that I keep hearing about?
Wow, all this Mongolian barbecue stuff, I tell you. we have to go off the Martini Luge, because that's really kind of a fun thing to talk about. No, BDs will start doing Martini Luges if we have to, whatever it takes. But BDs started in 1992, and it's a create-your-own stir-fry restaurant. And you know, for those who don't know, you go through a market area and pick out whatever meats and vegetables and sauces and spices you want, and create your own stir-fry. And it's fresh and healthy, and it can be gluttonous too if you want to just go and eat all you can eat. So we have kind of the spectrum of products available. Myself, I went to Michigan State University, studied hospitality business and restaurant work there, and then got really fortunate and went overseas and found this concept, and then partnered up with a gentleman from London, England, who owned a Mongolian barbecue restaurant. And together we opened up our first restaurant in Royal Oak, and like I said, it's been 15 years now. So
you know, that's hard to believe. 15 years. I remember you came to Royal Oak, and there really wasn't a whole bunch downtown, was there?
Well, that's a really good question. You know, a lot of people give us some credit for being pioneers, but I don't look at it as really being a pioneer. We were joining on a train that definitely was going the right direction. We got one of the last liquor licenses available at that particular point in time, which was crucial to our success. And this show is not about just alcohol. Alcohol is a part of our experience at BD's. But you know, it was a critical thing. We like to have a lively environment that's complemented with libations. And you know, what happened was there's a lot of restaurants that were opening up around the same time as us. And Royal Oak was hot in the 90s. I mean, it was a place to go.
Now, yeah, and more than just a successful businessman, you are a very successful businessman, and I've been to your restaurant on a couple occasions.
Thank you very much. Yes, you have.
And it is a very interesting concept. I mean, sometimes you can get a little carried away, and you also have the little recipes, which is what I do because I can't cook at home. I wouldn't want to come and mess up my meal. But aside from being a very successful businessman, you give a lot back to Royal Oak. What, you kind of hit on it a little bit, what brought you to Royal Oak? What was it about Royal Oak that really
we had this
attracted you?
concept that we wanted to put into an area that was going to be accepting of something that was different. And you know, Royal Oak seemed to be, and still is today, a place where, you know, it's got a diverse clientele, it's got a diverse you know, business set, and it seemed like one of the perfect places. It also centrally located, you know, in the Detroit area, so that people from all over the Detroit area could come to this one kind of, you know, downtown area. And we did focus on the downtown early, well before we even opened our first restaurant. We joined the Chamber of Commerce, and we wanted to be a part of the community. And BD's has just made being a part of the community we do business in a pillar for what we do. It's one of our main values of our company. We like to have fun. We like to make money. Those things kind of go hand in hand. But you know, teamwork and growth, and then community is it's so important.
Royal Oak, in fact, was your first store, the first flagship store. Is that correct?
It was, yeah.
And this is something that blows my mind, and maybe sometimes you sit back and say, where are we going? How many stores do you have, and where are these stores now?
Well, we have 31 restaurants currently. We're in 10 states and the country of Mongolia. And Mongolia is a whole, you know, whole segment. We could do a whole segment on that one if you like.
They have the Martini Luge in Mongolia?
Not yet, but coming soon.
How were you received in Mongolia? That's interesting.
Oh, it was very interesting because we were approached by a Mongolian restaurateur who wanted to bring Mongolian barbecue back to the country of Mongolia. I mean, it's a fascinating story. So here we are reintroducing this concept to this country that we've been able to trade off of for the last 15 years. And it is just an absolutely wild story.
31 stores.
31 stores. We do have company and franchise restaurants. Our company restaurants are located in Detroit, Chicago, and Denver. And then we do franchising outside of those markets. And things have been going terrific. We look at the next, you know, 4 or 5 years as further expansion in all of those markets, the 10 states we're in. But we just entered Florida, and that's been a very exciting venture. A lot of people from the Royal Oak area living down in Florida now. and are frequenting our new restaurants down there.
Well, one of the things, Billy, that I was really happy when I heard you were going to be one of the guests is because, again, I alluded to it before, you're a successful businessman, but whenever someone says Mongolian or Billy Downs, it was, you know, they think give back to the community. And if you go on your website, too, a big section is what you do for the communities that you're in. And I know that you've done a ton of things for Royal Oak. You know, you have what they call a guest griller. Explain that concept.
Well, and you know, we were getting approached by many different organizations. You know, donate a dinner here, donate whatever you could, food for this, and you know, not that we always didn't receive something back. You know, that's not always the reason to give, but you know, there should be a win-win. And we came up with this idea of a guest griller where you come in and you actually would, you know, grill with us and invite friends to come in, and then we would decide how we would split, you know, kind of the proceeds from that event. Tips at the grill would go to the event or to the charity, and you can also sell tickets at a markup. And anyways, this program, we were playing with it for a few years, and then we formalized it, and today it raises over $300,000 for local charities in our restaurant. So it is a great program. It's a great way for us to find a win-win for, you know, trying to help out, you know, when I say charities, it could be anybody. It could be anybody that is having has a fundraising opportunity. We get a lot of schools today where there's been cutbacks in, you know, programs with the arts or with sports, and where they're trying to raise money to, you know, to keep a choir going, or they're trying to raise money for uniforms for one or two, you know, different athletics that have been cut back. And so it's a great, easy way to do it. I mean, there's a lot of schools that come every year and do this guest griller program and raise, you know, a couple grand. So
it's more about, for you, it seems very important to you for giving back to the community that you're in. It's not all about making money, in other words.
No, but I really do think that, you know, like you said, you've heard that when we're mentioned that we do give back to the community, we want people to think of us as a partner in the community. And it's an investment in that community, but at the same time, it's doing the right thing. You know, we really look at it as a win-win.
Now, you graduated from this little high school known as Catholic Central, I think?
I am a Catholic Central Shamrock, 1984, and rumor has it that you also are a Shamrock in your past there.
Class of 78, I think.
Class of 78, yeah.
But you then went from there, and we're going to get into this in the second half, but you went from there to Michigan State, kind of where you discovered this whole idea, correct?
Yeah, Michigan State is, you know, obviously a great school. It provides a well-rounded education, and you know, terrific. I was able to get a business degree, but also learn this restaurant trade. And through an internship program, I went over to London, England, and it was a tough internship. It was running a assistant manager in a pub. So, but I was about 21 years old, I think, at the time, living in London, and met this individual who wanted to open a Mongolian barbecue. And later, after I graduated, I ended up hiring me for $12,000 was my starting pay. In fact, you know,
make a little bit more than that, but,
but it was a good learning experience. So.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about where you're at and where you'd like to be in the next 5 years or so.
Great.
And we'll see you just back right after the break here. Thank you. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Ironman Billy Downs.
This program is made possible by a grant from Billings Lawn Equipment in Royal Oak. Billings is the area leader in lawn and snow equipment sales and service. Whether you're a professional landscaper or you do it yourself, Billings' knowledgeable staff can help you with all your equipment needs. Billings' parts department is fully stocked with replacement parts and accessories. And Billings' expert service department will repair it properly the first time. Billings Lawn Equipment. It's where the pros go.
All right, welcome back. We're back again with Billy Downs, who's, of course, the founder and very successful operator of the Mongolian barbecue chain. Billy, we also, aside from graduating from the same high school, we have something else in common. You run the triathlon, Ironman triathlons, and I don't. I read about one time, but it's something that a lot of people may not know about you. You've entered 2 of these events.
Yeah.
What are they all about?
Well, it's an interesting story. I was growing in my my mid-30s, and I was growing this way. And my business partner, Matthew Kirby, the guy from London, literally just signed me up for a triathlon. So it wasn't like, you know, a discussion. It was just, I signed you up for this triathlon. We're doing it in 6 months. So, you know, oh, I can take a challenge. Fine, I'll do that. And about 4 other people were doing the triathlon at the same time. And I trained for a few months. And literally, I mean, I took 10 years off from athletics in general. I was running the business. We had a young family, and
now, prior to that, you were very active. I mean, you're a sports fanatic.
I was very active in high school and college, and just took some time off. And like I said, I weigh about 175 pounds now. I think I was up about 210, and you know, it was. So
there's hope for me. Is that what you're saying?
There is hope for you.
You weren't supposed to agree with that, by the way.
So I'll sign you up for the triathlon. That's
okay, you do that. My name's Andy Aubrey.
Yeah.
Cool. That's good. I like that.
Thank you.
So we, and a triathlon is just 3 sports, right? So it could be any 3 sports. You could invent your own, you know, triathlon, you and Andy.
But not just any sports here. These are like endurance sort of things.
Swimming,
right?
biking, and running are the 3 sports. And,
no problem. I could handle that.
Oh, good.
Is there any details about the?
Well, you got to swim a little ways. And but the funny thing is, I did a sprint triathlon, which is a very short one compared to the Ironman distance. And when I say short, it's about a half-mile swim. It's about a 17-mile bike ride, and then I think it was a 5-mile trail run. It was out in Ann Arbor, and I really was just trying to finish the race, and I was about a mile away from the finish, and one of the guys that had signed up with us to do the triathlon, who was a pretty good athlete, I passed him. And I wasn't really having a great race, but he was having a bad race. And it said to me, though, that, wow, I could do this, and I really got kind of a charge out of that. So I signed up for another one and kind of, you know, messed around that for a couple of years, just doing 2 or 3 triathlons a year. And then I had this team of elite athletes come to me about 3 years ago. Royal Oak-based team that needed a sponsor. And the list of their athletes and their accomplishments was just incredible. And the sport of triathlon doesn't get a lot of money. And it really, for them, they weren't trying to raise a lot of money, just someone to help out with uniforms.
This is a local
This is a local group of, I would say about 3 or 4 of the 12 live actually in Royal Oak. The balance of them live either in Birmingham, Clawson, Ferndale, right in the area.
So before you go any further,
yeah.
I mean, for people that don't know, I mean, of course, I know what triathlon is. But you've got a bike for how? The first event
the
is
Ironman?
For the Ironman.
The Ironman is a 2.4 mile swim.
Okay.
A 112 mile bike, and then a marathon, which is 26.2 miles. So
that's a piece of cake.
It's
I mean,
it's a long
you've
day.
done this twice now.
Done those twice. I'm doing another one on June 24th.
This month, in this coming June.
June 24th. You got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Anybody wants to come out and take a nice visit to, you know, come out and support me? That'd be great.
Shouldn't you be training like right now? You took time off to be on the Royal Oak show.
It's part of this community thing, you know, and being a pillar. You know, it's important. So, but just one thing about this team that you need to know is that when they presented this package to sponsor them, they said they had 2 key beneficiaries that they wanted to give back and help, and one of them was the Boys and Girls Club in Royal Oak. And they had me right when I saw that, because I think that Brett and those guys down at the Boys and Girls Club did just a fantastic job. And if you're going to spend some energy on anything, what a great place to spend time. So.
Yeah, I think Brett's agreed to come on the show next couple shows or so.
That's great. And their team there, they just do great stuff for kids, keeping them out of trouble and helping them grow in a positive way. I can't speak highly enough about that organization and what they do for kids. It's awesome.
Well, you are truly an amazing guy. Has running the Ironman helped you out in the business world at all?
Oh, sure. I mean, the principles of discipline and focus and goal setting. I mean, when you set a goal for Ironman, it has a goal that you have to want to do this certain time or whatever it's going to be. And working back, you have to design a plan that's going to work for that. And there's no kind of cheating or cramming for the finals in Ironman. I mean, when you get there, you'll know whether you accomplished your goal or not. And for me, it's been great. I've accomplished my goals each year, and this year I hope to do an hour better than I did last year, which would be 11:45. I'd finish in the top half.
Is that days? Or?
that is hours.
Okay.
And then my long-term goal is to hopefully qualify for the World Championships in Kona. So
that'd be Kona, Hawaii.
Kona, Hawaii.
Well, maybe we'll have an off-site show, and Andy and I can come film you in Hawaii.
You're invited. I'm sure that this fine station here would pay for your travel and expenses out there.
We have a pretty large budget here.
I can imagine.
In fact, we got to hurry up before all this stuff disappears. But
yeah, I'm waiting for the people to come out. Are they about ready to come running around there? We run through this area of town,
Do you? That's why we did this for you,
It's
especially for
Thank you.
But we are not only honored to have you on the show tonight, because you really do give back to Royal Oak, and you are truly what this show and this city is all about. When you came here 15 years ago, there was a different kind of Royal Oak now, downtown and the city itself. What are some of the changes that you've seen in the downtown as a businessman and as somebody who lives or somebody who works here? And
well, I would say that it's I think that Royal Oak as a community, recognized the opportunity back in the late '80s when 696 came through, that it was going to open up the downtown. And then through working together with the businesses, the residents, of trying to find how you can have synergy of a lively downtown with neighborhoods right around it. And I think that the city itself has done a great job in investing in infrastructure to handle that growth that was coming, parking structures being one example. And I think as things went through the 90s, that Royal Oak was a destination that a lot of young people came to, and it swelled. It created as much excitement as it did challenges at the time. And then local, other communities, started to figure out, oh wow, if we do some upgrading, maybe we can get a little bit of that action. And they did. And I think that Somerset did a great job with their expansion. Downtown Birmingham's done a great job of, making it user-friendly in terms of investing in it. And I think Royal Oak is continuing as it grows up to take those steps. I'm excited about the future. I know there's a lot of plans about.
Because you've just invested
we did.
in Royal Oak again. You just moved and you're in a new location now. And
we've invested over $1 million to relocate 1 block south. Our new location is a block away from our original one. Now, the original one was great for us, but it was on 2 floors. Right. And it was an opportunity for us to get onto 1 floor and run a better business for our customers, and it's been great. And we did invest a lot of money into that, and I think it's exciting. I think we would not have done that if we didn't believe in Royal Oak and its future. And we have about a 20-year lease, so we should be here for at least a little while longer.
You're gonna be around at least for 20 more years.
Yeah. So
where do you see the downtown? Where do you see it going from here?
Well, like I said, if it continues to invest in infrastructure and we need a blend of everything. We need a blend of retail, we need a blend of residential, and we need a blend of businesses. And it's tough to have the balance of that. But one of the things that drives the success of a downtown is when people can come there, can park safely, walk around in a clean environment. So I'm excited about the things that the city's doing to keep it looking fresh and clean. Parking and the fact that we have free parking now available. I'd love to see more advertising for that free parking, make it easier as you drive down Main Street, okay, I can get right here to, the more we can invest in there.
Well, do you mind if I call on you in the future and keep giving us good ideas?
No problem, please.
Well, thank you very much for coming down.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Billy Downs, and don't go anywhere. In just a little while, we're going to have Greg Rassel here on the Royal Oak Show. Don't touch that dial. Thank you very much.
Join us on the next Royal Oak Show when Carlo visits with Brett Tillender from the Boys and Girls Club, children's advocate Jeff Hewson. We'll have the first annual Eagle Scout Roundup, plus comedian Chrissy Burns drops by for a few laughs. The Royal Oak Show will return in a moment. Stay tuned.
To the Royal Oak Show, our next guest is someone that this city could not do without. He, in fact, is in charge of what we refer to as the Silent Army, and he's going to explain that in just a minute. Of course, I'm talking about Greg Rassel, our next guest. Greg, thanks a lot for coming down. All right, have a seat here, make yourself at home. Well, I'm really happy that you decided to come on. You didn't really have a choice, though, did you?
No, eventually, I think everyone's going to make it on.
Well, that's a good thing. Yeah, we called you, and we're really happy that you could make it. Greg, you've been head of the Royal Oak DPS for how long now?
Well, I've been the director for the last three years, I believe, this coming August, and then I've been with the Department of Public Works here in Royal Oak for 10 years. This coming October will be 10 years.
Is being in charge any different than it was 3.5 years ago when you were just one of the
It has changed because I basically got promoted, and they told me, by the way, we're not replacing the guy behind you, so just keep doing a good job.
That seems to be a habit that we have in the city, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Now, before that, well, I'll ask you the same question I just asked Mr. Downs there. A lot of people know your title, but they're not sure what you do. I mean, even some of the members of the commission. No, I'm just kidding. No, just kidding, of course. What is it? Tell us the average day in your life.
The Department of Public Works is responsible for everything, and usually I don't get to talk to the residents unless something's gone wrong. You know, we take care of if the water's going the wrong way in your toilet. We get the phone call. If the water's going the wrong way, coming out of your faucet in a different way, or you're not unhappy with the meter reader, that comes my way. The pothole in the street, play equipment in the parks, your tree's not done, you're unsatisfied with your parking meter or the condition of the parking structure downtown, that comes my way. We manage the garbage contract, so when the garbage man hasn't been there by 9 a.m. for some reason, we get that phone call too. The recreation department falls under me as well.
So you pretty much do just about everything in the city.
You
personally, you have no help doing it either.
Well,
right?
we got about I guess staff of between 50 and 60 people. We can count the administrative staff and everything in there that do the lion's share of the work. And I am blessed to surround myself with good people, and they make me look good.
That's one of the things I wanted to say. I mean, I joked about it when you came on. It really wasn't a joke. It was more of a compliment. I think somebody referred to you one time during these budget crisis that we've had over the last 3 years as basically your department is the silent army. And by that, when things happen, they get fixed, and everyone says, oh, hey, you know, who did that? But you guys are out there 3 o'clock in the morning fixing water mains. You're out there picking up trees. You're doing basically everything while the rest of us are sleeping and we're warming our house. Is that
Well, that's
fair?
That's a very fair and honest example. You know, it's not the flashiest job. We don't get red or blue lights on our cars or anything like that.
You could have some if you'd like. You want to make a note of it?
We don't get the fancy lights and sharp-looking cars, and we're the ones doing a lot of dirty work, and a lot of it's unsung and behind the scenes. So like I said, people don't call us unless there's a problem, and usually we've got to fix something in a short amount of time for it.
And you're doing all of this with less than you had 3 years ago.
Before. When I started here, we had over 70 people working in the trenches, so to speak, out driving the trucks, picking up leaves, plowing snow, and now that number's down to less than 55. I believe it's 54 just recently with a retirement we had a couple months ago.
I know I've driven by a few times where it's sub-zero, 20 below, and I'm driving with my nice, comfortable heater on in the car, and there's a gang working on a broken water main, and I have to stop and think, man, that's got to be tough.
Well, that is very tough, because you're basically standing sometimes waist deep in 0-degree water or water temperatures, outdoor temperature at 0 degrees, and it's waist deep in water, and it's cold. There's no doubt about it. And once again, the idea is to get it done and get done. During this past winter, in about a 3-week span, we had 46 water main breaks in a 3 to 4 week period. That's more than we have entire winters sometimes. So and it's the same. same people every day. So everybody's gets a little burned out or a little tired because you do that water main break. You're still expected to come in and do your normal 8-hour shift, even though you just got off work at 4 o'clock in the morning. So you're taking a long nap and back into work.
So we've had a colder winter, but we haven't had as much snow. And I know that you made a promise to me. One of the conditions of you coming on the Royal Oak Show was that you've unhooked the plows and got rid of the salt, because we're not going to have any more of that mess, are we?
That's correct. No, we're not. There's not going to be any more snow of measurable to the residents of Royal Oak. That's our goal here.
It's kind of like washing your car. If you take the plows off your truck, that's
Exactly.
for sure going to stop the snow, correct?
Absolutely correct.
Right. Well, Greg, like I said, I'm really happy to have you on. But before you came to Royal Oak, where were you working?
I was with the bounced around a little bit. I was with the Public Works Department in the city of Hollywood, Florida, and before that we were in Michigan, and I was working with Ryder Trucking for about 2 years, and that followed my 12 years of active duty in the Marine Corps. And then we left active duty, and then I turned my active duty time into a reserve career, which I've have strung out now. It'll be 26 years in July that I was associated with the Marine Corps in one way or the other.
Well, we're going to get into that on the next section. But what brought you to Royal Oak? Other than, I know it wasn't just a job for you.
Well, you know, like I said, I was working in the Public Works Department in the city of Hollywood, Florida, and I was enjoying my job. My wife wasn't happy with the lifestyle of South Florida, you know, the family environment of the Fort Lauderdale, Miami area. And I remember it clearly that I was laying on a bed on a summer afternoon, watching the ceiling fan turn around, and just think,
kind of like what you do every day at work,
exactly,
right?
You know. And she came in and she just yelled at me, and she said, "You better find a way to send our kids to private high school or find another job." And
wives can do that too, you can't they?
I said, "Okay," you know. And then her father-in-law, who lives up here in the Detroit area, saw this. Saw the ad in the paper. He said, "You should put in an application for this. It's a step up from what you're doing down in Hollywood." I applied it and came up for an interview, and I got the job.
So we have your father-in-law to thank for having you.
You do.
Well, when we come back just a little while, we're going to get into the real Greg Rassel here, and I've got some surprises up my sleeve. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with Mr. Greg Rassel here. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, seated to my right is Mr. Greg Rassel, the, again, person that this city owes a great deal to, he and his crew. Greg, every guest that comes on this show, we talk a little bit about what you do. People know that you're the head of the Department of Public Works, but what they may not know, and you alluded to it a little while ago, that you're also a colonel in the United States Marine Corps. Is that correct?
That's correct. As a matter of fact, I was commissioned out of college at the University of Florida as a lieutenant in the Marine Corps. Spent 12 years active duty. The highlights of that 12 years was I got to go to Grenada, got to Beirut about 2 weeks after the bombing in '83, and then spent part of 1990 and '91 over in Kuwait and the southern part of Iraq during the first time.
Well, I remember it wasn't too long after I got on the city commission that you got called up for active duty in the Middle East.
And well, in 2003, when everybody got activated, I did get activated, and my job was to go to backfill a unit that got to go forward to Iraq back in 2003. Sometimes you draw the long straw. My job was to make sure that the flow of supplies and the equipment and manpower went through a couple of airfields in San Diego, California area, and I've told the president that if he ever wants me to defend this country from San Diego, California, I'd be glad to do it again.
Tough tour of duty. Yeah?
It was a tough tour of duty. You know, my wife says sometimes you just luck out and get that long straw out of the hand. But having talked to everyone who's been over to Iraq and Afghanistan and a lot of friends and that kind of stuff, I feel very privileged to have had the opportunity to lead some of these young men that are over there doing really great things right now.
Well, that's we're very proud of you, and I know that we have two other city workers who are
We
have been
do.
called up. One a police officer, and
One was a police officer, and then there was another at the time, a DPS worker who works in the water department that was called up during that time.
Okay, does that help out a little bit in what you have to do? I mean, I notice sometimes when when there are tough orders, you got to follow through. You never ask any questions. In fact, this is probably the most I've ever heard you talk in the 5 or 6 years that I've known you. Does your experience as an officer in the Marine Corps, does that help out in your daily routine?
I think so, because it provides a foundation for decision making, and it gets a little frustrating because there's a lot of I prefer to make a decision and just go ahead and move forward. I really don't need to discuss it to death, and which probably
sometimes you have to do that in government.
Sometimes you have to do that in government. So, and that's sometimes I think for military officers, sometimes that's becomes very frustrating at times. So.
Well, Greg, how has Royal Oak changed since you've come? I know that you've moved your way up through the trenches, so to speak, and now you're basically in charge, and you're doing a great job, by the way, at least as far as anyone will tell you to your face. So, but
yeah.
But how has it changed? I mean, what are we doing different?
I think the things that I've noticed is a lot of the building that's gone on downtown. The condominium projects are definitely making a mark, and as Bill referred to in the first interview, I mean that's the kind of thing I think that's going to add to keeping the downtown as a growing and viable community kind of thing. Because as you see, there's a lot of these outside communities that just would love to have a downtown and go about creating downtown. Novi is a perfect example. They had to go, city of close to over 100,000 people. They had to go out and build one and try and make something from Disneyland.
It didn't work out very well, did it?
It hasn't worked out very well. Farmington Hills wants to absorb Farmington just so they can claim a downtown.
Well, there are downsides and positive for having a downtown, but from what I hear you saying, it's basically a great place to work.
Oh, I think so. I mean, the people here are great. Like I said, most of the time when we talk to them, they're a little frustrated because things aren't going right for them because there's a problem with their water, the garbage isn't picked up, or we can't get to their service request quickly enough. But the people here are great, and it's just amazing the tradition and the lineage that so many of the people here in Royal Oak have. When you meet people that can go back and tell you about their great grandkid or that kind of stuff, goes back generations.
Once people come here, they stay here. Is that?
That's correct.
Well, you also, I did a little research on you in the last 6 years that I've known you. You have you graduated from, what's the name of that school again?
University of Florida.
Aren't they doing something tonight?
Yeah,
Is there kind of baseball game or something?
That's starting a little bit here. The basketball game tonight, and as I alluded to, when I went to the University of Florida, and the reason it's sort of a big thing for us graduates now, if you went to school during the 70s and early 80s at the University of Florida, it was sort of like being a Lions fan.
That bad, huh?
It was that bad. It was that bad. I think my junior year, we were 0-10-1 in football and 5-22 in basketball. So we couldn't even spell SEC if you spotted us the S.
And so who do you have on the game tonight? You don't have any money on the
game.
No,
not at all. Not at all. You never bet with your heart. That's a good way to be separated from your money.
No,
So,
what kind of degree did you get from University of
Florida? BA in economics, and that's, like I said, at the time it was sort of like I knew what I was going to do when I got out, and it was a good move to just get a degree and get out and get into the Marine Corps and get to work serving this country.
But again, you're modest. You also have another degree?
I have a master's degree in organizational management from the University of Phoenix.
So we are in good hands when we have you on our payroll.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Does that all come in handy on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, I think it certainly does.
Are you going to help us fix the budget crisis with your economics there?
Absolutely. Well, I can do black magic or Ouija board stuff as good as anybody.
We've tried that. That might help. Where do you see Royal Oak in the next couple of years?
Oh, I think that you'll see continued growth, and I believe with the firm leadership that we have, that we'll be able to solve the budget thing here once stabilize it and be able to move forward.
Well, with your help, I'm sure we can. I'm going to let you get home and watch that baseball game tonight. Thanks a lot, Greg.
All right, thank you, Carlo.
For coming. Just hang on there. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with David Sawicki. Don't go anywhere.
If you wish to get tickets for upcoming shows, simply go to www.royaloakshow.com and click on tickets. They're free and easy to print. The Royal Oak Show will return right after this message. Don't go away.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. My next guest is to be a pleasure to bring him on. Of course, without further ado, we're going to bring on Mr. David Sawicki. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a Royal Oak welcome.
To make a change.
David, how are you tonight? Make yourself at home.
And open wide. And
Brought your fan club with you tonight, I see. Huh?
Yeah, they're doing pretty good so far.
David, you when I heard you were going to be on the show, I did a little research on you, and what you do basically is it's something else. I mean, it's all I can say. What is it that you do? I mean, you tell the ladies and gentlemen what Youth Under Construction is.
Well, I'm a producer, musician that was in the printing business for a long time, and but in my spare time I was writing songs, and songs about just life in general, and
Now help us, take us back. How far ago was this?
well, probably back in the 80s.
Okay.
You know, early to mid 80s. I started writing and I played guitar. And
So your interest has always been musical in nature, and you did a little producing as well?
Exactly. Yeah, music became, very important hobby, influence for me when I was young, and grew up listening to the Big Eight, and enjoying
the Big Eight. I bet you that some of those are. What are the Big Eight?
CKLW.
Oh, okay, all right. I remember that. I still remember the jingle as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. You had an influence, I guess. Influence is key to what you do, and
Absolutely.
Music and the world of music had an influence on you, and you took that and you ran with it. And where did you go?
Well, what I saw happening in the late 80s and early 90s was, the music started getting more aggressive, censorship started getting more lax, and I kept thinking to myself, where is this going to go? Where is a post-Sesame Street young person going to have the same kind of positive or not so graphic music that I grew up with? So one thing led to another, and started writing a collection of songs that would appeal to that group and that age. Now the trick was to make it sound like what was on the radio and have the production values that kids are used to, but at the same time make it positive, make the lyrics positive and clean and interesting enough to engage them at the same time.
So you're trying to keep the kids interested, because the last thing I think kids, I mean, we've all, even you and I was a kid one time, and we go through this whole cycle, if you will, that the music you listen to is basically your world, and everybody outside of that world, you don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. And I think one of the things that I saw when I was doing research, I knew is that you took that and you said, look, I can actually make a difference with these kids. What age group are you trying to target, or were you trying to target back then? What age group?
Post-Sesame Street youth, typically around 6 years and up, going all the way up into the teens, and actually there's a lot of adults, the parents of the kids that we made the music for, that love it. They think the lyrics are good and the tunes are catchy, and we're very proud of that.
So that was back, you're talking about maybe in '92, I think you started Youth in Construction?
Youth Under Construction. Actually, that didn't come till later.
But the concept was born in '92?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And where are your roots? Where are you from?
Actually, I was born in Windsor, across the river, and my parents came over when I was about 5, and grew up on the east side in St. Clair Shores. Moved to Detroit for a while, on the east side of Detroit, and it was right around the early 90s when I met my wife Lisa, and we kind of became partners in this idea, this whole concept about making, creating a genre of music that would be different, that would stand out from the other music out there, but appeal to youth and give them something, give them some kind of support lyrically, and something to, to build them up and give them an option.
Well, people that might not be familiar with Youth Under Construction, you're not talking about Sesame Street kind of music or, lollipop music. Your music has the sound and the feel of, shall we say, hip hop or modern stuff that would appeal to kids nowadays.
Pop culture.
Pop culture.
Yes.
But what you've done is you've taken the negative stuff out and you've tried to put a positive message in. How is it being received?
Very, very well. We've got, when we released the CD in 2003, we've won 4 national awards for the product, and parenting-related organizations have really taken to this product because there's a need for it, and there's not a lot of projects like this out there.
And like most of the people that do great things, you're rather humble. And let me try to tell the people a little bit about what you've done. Okay. You've won awards such as the National Parenting Publications Gold Award, 2005, Parents' Choice Foundation Gold Award, 2003. I'm not embarrassing you, am I?
No, keep going.
The Children's International Music Web Best CD for Older Youth, 2004. National Partnership for Community Leadership, Detroit's Favorite Father Award, 2005. So these aren't, you're not just a flash in the pan. I mean, this is something that really has caught on and apparently is well received. And when we come back, I'm going to let you talk a little bit more about Youth Under Construction, because it is truly a fascinating thing you're doing. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere right now. We're going to be right back with David Sawicki, and he's going to tell you all about Youth Under Construction. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. We're going to be continuing on with David Sawicki. David, you're also going to fall victim to the tradition that I've started, that I hold back a little bit during the second segment of the interview. You go by another name than David Sawicki, is that true? What is the name that you go by?
My stage name is Mellow D.
Mellow D.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, how did you get a name like that?
Well, it kind of fits.
Yeah. You seem like a really hyper guy, so I would imagine. So did it kind of was it a stage name that kind of caught on? And
oh yeah, it's just like the Royal Oak Show.
Yeah,
it fits.
I got to think of a stage name then. Now, let's get right into the Youth Under Construction. When I talked to you earlier today, I mentioned to you about what a great thing you're doing, and we talked about how parents nowadays, we're under such a different sort of set of rules than parents were 10, 15, 20 years ago. Our kids are listening to different things. Our kids are influenced by cable, by TV, by music, by a bunch of different things that perhaps our parents didn't have to worry about with. What are you doing? What does your Youth Under Construction also do to help parents fight off some of this negativity?
Carlo, I think it starts with raising the consciousness of the parents. And one of the things that we believe and we promote, just like everything you eat becomes a part of you, everything you listen to becomes a part of you, everything you're watching, including this show, becomes a part of you.
All positive things on this show, though.
Right. But it's your memory. The memory doesn't filter or judge what goes in there. It's just there. So we believe that music is a very powerful influence, and it can be used to promote good things, good behavior, good activity without sounding forced or trite or corny,
Well, one of the things that I really enjoyed talking to you about this afternoon was you're not all about censorship, and you're not about changing the way kids or changing what music or you're slamming artists. I mean, what is that? You're not about any of that. Is that correct?
That's absolutely right. In fact, if you tell a young person not to listen to this or that, they'll be more intrigued
don't I know
by
that?
it. Exactly. So it's trying to promote a balanced perspective about the whole thing. And yes, the parents need to sit down with the kids and explain, this is entertainment, this is why this exists, and be careful and pay attention to what you're taking in, because studies show youth are plugged in to music 40+ hours per week.
That's amazing. That's an incredible statistic.
Yes, and less than 10 of the top 40 CDs are clean or free of graphic violence.
So the rest of them are graphic violence and misogynistic and sexual content.
And they do have those labels, the advisory labels, but I think that's become ignored in a lot of ways these days. And
you take a lot of so basically what you're trying to do is help not only spread a positive message, but you're also trying to empower parents as well, to give us a tool, if you will, to control what our kids take from this music.
That's right. One of the things we've actually created to go with the CD is something we call a bridge guide. In other words, use our CD and use this dialogue to create an actual dialogue, with your children, and as an opportunity to talk about things that you wouldn't normally talk about. Bullying is a big issue these days in schools and in homes, and Youth Under Construction takes that issue directly on.
And you do all of this at the same time that, kids, your target audience are basically kids, although you want to empower parents. But the kids are crazy about your music. They love the music that you put out. How does that work?
We're very fortunate, and it's like we've caught on to something. We've grabbed their interest just by making something that sounds like what they're used to listening to, but of course
with a positive message.
Right.
And you do this right here in Royal Oak.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, David, thank you very much for coming on the Royal Oak Show.
Thank you, Carlo.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Sawicki. All right, and now our next guest. Without further ado, you're in for a real treat, ladies and gentlemen. Connie Ettinger from the Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle, coming to you right now here live at the Royal Oak Show.
Yeah. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I have a little treat to share with you. I just celebrated my 27th wedding anniversary. Yay for me, yeah. They said that injunction wouldn't last, I'll tell you. No, people are always mystified. They say, oh my gosh, how did you manage to stay married that long? And really, I think there are just 3 simple rules. First is, don't sweat the small stuff. There's enough big stuff to sweat, trust me on that one. If your husband does something that bothers you, for example, if he leaves his shoes in the way and you trip over them, don't put them in the oven and bake them. No, you'll never get the smell out of the drapes. Trust me, I learned that the hard way. That's what the hibachi is for. Take it outside, do it out there. If you have a wife who likes to eat crackers in bed, leaves little crumbs, you can go to any pet store in the area and buy like little creatures, little rodent-like creatures that you can leave between the sheets that will take care of that cracker crumb problem immediately. And again, if your husband does something like leaving his underwear right next to the laundry hamper instead of putting it in the laundry hamper, again, don't blow a gasket. That's what the hibachi is for. Remember that. Hibachi is our friend. So, like I said, don't sweat the small stuff. The second thing is marry somebody smart. When you're looking for a mate, look for somebody who has an IQ. That's very, very important. If you're finding the person you're with closely examining the tag on the hairdryer that warns them against using it in the tub or shower, and they have a puzzled look on their face, you can do better. You can do so much better. Really, move on. They're not good breeding material. Now, I have to tell you, my husband he's a brilliant man. He really is a very, very smart, brilliant man, and I love him to death. He is my heart. But he has what I call SSS, selective stupidity syndrome, and it will crop up at the most amazing times. Like, for example, if a light bulb burns out. This man can do virtually anything if it concerns a book, but let a light bulb burn out, and he turns all Forrest Gump on me. He'll just walk in a room and, Jenny, it's not my name, by the way, Jenny, It's awfully dark in here, Jenny. Despite the fact that my name is Connie, I will change the light bulb, and he seems mystified when it becomes brighter. He'll open the drawer sometimes, and he'll go, Jenny, not my name. Jenny, the underwear fairy must have missed us on the stop last night. I'm out of clean drawers. I'll do a load of wash. I'm a brilliant person that way. But the bad thing happened the other night when I was getting ready for bed, putting on my pajamas, and he looked at me and he said, Jenny, what? You're getting fat. Oh, ho, 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 ho. No. Don't ever say that to a woman, fellas. If you ever have any hopes of getting close to her again, don't ever say that. But I tried to fix the problem. I went to the hardware store the next day. I got some dimmer switches. I figured if he couldn't see it, he couldn't complain about it. But that was the irritating thing, was that it was really the marriage itself that caused me to put on excess tonnage. I admit freely, I weigh more than I did when I got married, substantially more. But marriage causes weight gain. Virtually every married woman on this planet will gain some weight. And it's a simple scientific fact when you think about it. Single women, they come home, take a look at what's in the fridge, poke around a little bit. They go to bed. Married women come home, take a look at what's in the bed, head straight for the fridge. So that explains a lot of that stuff. But the last thing to remember, aside from picking a smart one, is keep things spicy. Be considerate of each other. I mean, don't just ignore each other. Do special things out of the ordinary. For example, ladies, if you want to make your husband feel special, let him watch football all day Sunday. Don't say anything about him. Next time you're going to a movie, let him pick. Don't make him go to the chick flick. You know, do something special like that. You know, pay the Visa bill before the third notice, anything along that line. But my husband did something really exciting for me. Now, our first date was on Halloween, and so the day before Halloween last time, he bought me a thong from Victoria's Secret, and I was so excited. He got it for me the day before so I could get all ready for our anniversary date. And when he came home on our anniversary, Halloween, there I was, ready for him, wearing it like an eye patch, dressed like a pirate. He was one happy camper. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. And it was clean.
I like the idea of the thong. That was pretty good.
I got clearance on that before I did it.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Well, Connie, thank you very much for being on the show tonight. I know that you just got off and you're going to be doing a couple shows in the near future. You just got done playing at the Holly Hotel Comedy Club.
Yes, I did.
And you're going to be at the Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle in Royal Oak, of course, right here in Royal Oak.
Right here in Royal Oak. And
what are the
that
dates of that show?
That is May 31st through June 2nd, I believe.
All right, and you're going to be, after that, you're going to be around town?
I'm really going to be all over. I tend to work mostly in the Detroit area, places like Novi, Wyandotte, Plymouth, you name it, I'll work there if they'll have me. I'm more than happy to work there.
Well, we'll have you anytime. Just
hey,
let me
thank
know.
you so much.
You've been in places from Mark Ridley's here in Royal Oak to Grand Rapids.
I've been as far as Peoria.
Peoria.
As far as Peoria, and actually I was on The View with Barbara Walters.
That's and after The View with Barbara Walters, now you're here in the Royal Oak show with
And
Carlo
I
Ginotti.
have never felt better.
How was it being on the View?
The View was really remarkable. Barbara Walters, lovely, lovely woman. I was surprised. I thought she'd be a little standoffish, very warm, very charming. Joy Behar is just like you see her on TV. Didn't really get to mingle with Star Jones very much because Natalie Cole was on, and she was busy talking with Natalie. And Goldie Hawn's daughter, whose name is escaping me at the moment, is without question the most beautiful woman on the face of the earth. She is, you think she's beautiful in the movies, she is just incredibly gorgeous. You just want to punch her in the throat. She's that pretty.
She's that pretty,
She
huh?
is that pretty. She's, I mean, beautiful skin. Kate Hudson.
Kate Hudson, yes,
Hudson.
I was drawing a blank myself.
Yeah, she's remarkable. But yeah, they treated us very nicely, and it was a lot of fun. But there's nothing like getting up in front of a group of people and getting some laughs, and
Well, you did a great job
it's
here
very
tonight.
rewarding.
You did a great job. And,
Well, thank you so much.
People don't know that you started out your life as an attorney, correct?
Yes, I did. I'm actually still licensed to practice law in the state of Michigan. Don't be afraid. I've been clean for about 13 years now, so it's.
You must crack the juries up when you go.
No, I didn't. I haven't practiced in a while, but it was very intense. It's very different from what I do now. I feel that I accomplish a lot more, quite frankly, these days, because I have many times been told by people after a show, you know, I was having a bad day. I was really, and you were just what I needed. And when I hear that, it's just, it's to me, it's wonderful. I've fulfilled something. I've made some small difference in the world, even if only for one person.
Well, I'm glad you could come on to the Royal Oak Show and cheer us up a little bit. And I'm going to spread the word around about the May 31st, June 2nd at Mark Ridley's.
Thank you so much. I'll expect to see everybody there.
And you're starting a new tradition, you know. We're going to have someone at the end of each show, and you're the first.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the Royal Oak Show tonight. Don't forget to tune in next time. And thank you very much to all of our guests. And thanks again.